And we're live. Hey,
Yeah.
welcome to another episode of Easy Sports. And today I'm joined by Waterboy Wavy, and we've got a new guest on the channel, Darshan. Or Darshan, rather. How's it fighting? Yeah,
What's up, Sleazy?
yeah. You see, did you hear that? When they pronounced it
Yeah,
clean, though.
clean.
Clean.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have to put the background there.
I beg your pardon?
I don't want to be judged in the background there, bro.
No, don't worry. This is a safe zone. This is a safe zone. You know, the guys who watch the channel don't judge at all. And yeah, gents,
All right.
just wanted to jump into it. You know, of course, What Up Boy Wavy, it's your first time this year on the channel. Um,
Yes.
yeah. And of course, you've been begging, you've been talking about having an episode strictly on MMA, you know,
Mm.
and of course this is it. I mean, Darshan is like another fan. He's a huge fanatic when it comes to the sports, and so I just wanted us to jump into it. Sunday's fight, gents. Like, I just wanted to first ask, can you guys rate the fight first before we go into it into detail? We'll start off with you, Darshan.
I'd give that fight for a title fight. I would give that an 8 out of 10. If I had to rate it out of 10, that would
Yeah.
definitely be an 8 out of 10. It was very competitive.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, especially for a title fight. I'd give that an 8, eh? Yeah.
Yeah. And then you are one day. What a boy,
I
rather.
agree with Darshan. I would give it a 10 if there was a knockout, so it's an 8 for me. But other than
Yeah.
other than the fact that no one got knocked out, that fight was amazing. Especially because it was a grudge match. Like Sean and Du Plessis don't like each other. So and like the pre-game, the anticipation before that was just heavy. So that made it more interesting and they
Yeah.
delivered.
There was a lot of tension.
Yeah, do you guys really think it was for show, perhaps just to get the pay-per-view numbers up? Because for me, I won't lie to you, I feel like there's a mutual respect amongst them. Yeah.
So, I don't know if you guys saw, I'm sure you must have seen the brawl that happened at UFC 296 between Dricus and Strickland in the audience. So a lot of people were speculating that was for show, but I'm gonna go ahead and say that was real. I think Sean Strickland, he's got a few screws loose, and he's the kind of person that would do something like that. I would put money on it that he's the kind of person that would jump somebody in a crowd,
Yeah.
And I think with the personality of Sean Strickland and some of the things that Dricus Du Plessis said was kind of out of character from my perspective. I've never seen him say some of the things he said to Sean Strickland. That may have been a little bit of hyping up the fight. But I know from Sean Strickland's side, that's genuinely who he is, dude. So I think it was a genuine grudge match, dude.
No, man. Like, yeah, you do make a valid point. Like, for me, as you mentioned about Dricus does seem like he's a very calm and respectful individual, and so it was, I just found it a bit tacky in a way, because I'm so used to him being calm and all chilled, and this time around,
that's the thing. That is the thing, man. Like when you see, the thing is, we build a character in our heads of certain athletes, not only fighters, and when they break character, we kind of it kind of breaks that image in our head, and then we're almost disappointed. But I kind of felt the same way you did. But then I realized he's an entertainer as well. There's an entertainment factor to UFC. They've got a job to do. They've got to sell the fight as well. And I think he did a good job, bruh. I think he did a really good job, dude, because it seemed like it generated the response out of Sean Strickland that he wanted.
Yeah.
And it looked like it got into his head a bit because some of the stuff that Sean Strickland's response was crazy, man. Was very, very crazy. I don't know if you saw the podcast where he said that if Dricus Du Plessis had to bring it up again, the stuff he said about his childhood trauma, if he were to bring it up again, then he's gonna do something that he might regret, and he's gonna cause something prior to the fight. That's what he was saying. I'm not gonna say what he said. It's a bit dark,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was a bit crazy, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, Dricus did his job. Sean Strickland didn't take it very well, but like he's a big boy, dude. He's a big man, and he needs to be like. I feel like a lot of the people that were putting comments in the comment section were right. They were saying
Yeah.
things like, you know what, you need to be able to take it if you're gonna dish it out, dude. And Sean
Yeah.
Strickland doesn't hesitate when it comes to dishing out, dude. He
Yeah. He does.
genuinely doesn't hesitate. So
Yeah.
I think he needs to man up a bit. Like, like I don't know if you heard what Dana White said. Dana White said he doesn't control what his fighters say. He believes in free speech, and if you're willing to say some of the things that Sean Strickland has said, then he needs to be able to take some of the things that other fighters are gonna say to him, dude.
Yeah.
And he's the type of fighter that brings it out of other fighters because he brings that animosity with him. He's a very like beastly kind of man, bro. He brings
Yeah.
animosity into fight. So obviously other fighters are gonna bring the same energy.
Yeah, no, indeed, bro. Like I fully agree with you. And I just wanted to ask, guys, is this Sean Strickland's like first ever like title defense? You don't mind me
Yes,
asking?
yes, it
Man,
was, and he lost.
and he lost. Just like that.
Yeah.
Like he
He,
just held on to
he
the
got it
belt.
and lost it.
Beg your pardon?
I'm saying, yeah, he got it and lost at the same time. Yeah,
Yes, like it.
I
Yeah.
predicted that, man. I'll be
same.
honest. I thought that was predictable, eh?
Yeah.
Mm.
Jeez. And then of course, I just also wanted to ask, of course, well, let's get into the fight itself. Where do you think Dricus won the fight? You know, because this, of course, is about him. Like, I'll start off with Waterboy. Like, where do you think the fight was won by Dricus?
From me, I won't lie. Third round it was shaky because for me it was 2-1 Strickland. But round 4-5, Dricus started performing, especially like with his strikes. He was just more tactical because I saw that with this fight, even with the person I was watching it with, we were like, hopefully Dricus for this match switches up his fighting style because he's usually very aggressive, but he knows that Strickland is a tactical fighter, so he had to be tactical and more strategic as well. Because yeah, just straight swinging with Strickland won't work because he's smart and he knows when to attack. So Dricus had to adapt. And round 4 and 5, I think he did like his best job of adapting. So for me, round 4-5 were his best performances, and that's for me where he won the fight. Where I felt like, you know what, no, he's got this one.
Yeah.
It was the
And then
last
you,
one.
Dash. And you, Dash. Do you perhaps have
Yeah.
another?
So where I'd say he won the fight was where it came to landing the heavier shots. So in terms of scoring a UFC fight, um, at the top of the list, at the top tier, is the heavier blows, the more powerful strikes. So he may have landed less significant strikes because I think Sean Strickland landed a lot more jabs. He was very effective with the jab.
Yeah.
But Dricus Du Plessis landed the heavier strikes. And another area where he was definitely successful was with the takedowns. He wasn't able to do a lot with the takedowns. He wasn't able to keep Sean Strickland down, but he managed to throw Sean Strickland off his game by getting, I think it was 6 out of 9 takedowns. That was the stat, 6 out of 9. So I think that was quite effective in terms of how the judges saw the fight going, in terms of who was more dominant, who was controlling the pace. Because I agree with Waterboy Wavy, where the first 2 rounds, I think I would say that Sean Strickland was controlling the tempo of the fight there. He was very effective at controlling the tempo. But then from then onward, I think Dricus said, I think he even said in his press conference, in his post-fight press conference, that he decided with his coach that he wanted to fight Sean Strickland's fight for the first 2 rounds, and then thereafter make the relevant adjustments, which I think he did. Yeah, so like to sum up, I think it was the heavier strikes and shooting for those takedowns. Yeah.
Yeah. We also have a comment here from Musa. Dricus definitely took the fight near the tail end of it for sure. Sean, I think maybe there's a typo, but yeah, like I do get
the
where
typo.
Musa's
Sean is a great fighter. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great fighter, but yeah. Oh, yeah. Here it is. He's like, Sean is a great fighter, but the jab got old, and that's indeed, and that's so true. I agree with Musa on the jab part. Like I felt like it was, it just became very monotonous. It's like we clearly saw where Sean's strengths lie. He prefers being upright. That's pretty much what he prefers to be. He doesn't want to be, taken down. And of course, here's another comment here by Crizo: 6 unresponded takedowns. And yeah, that's it, man. Like it really was that I saw on my end, especially from someone like myself. I'm not really as tuned into MMA as you two, but from what I saw, I just saw a guy who's just very comfortable staying upright. And of course, when Dricus started grappling him and pulling him down and pinning him and taking him down, things just changed for him. And of course, it's also tiring. Imagine, I played rugby. Tackling people is a very it's very tiring when you get tackled at a constant, like constantly, bro. You get fatigued after a while, and you kind of saw at the tail end of the fight. That's what happened with Strickland, and of course him, bleeding. Both parties were bleeding, but essentially it opened up the fight for Strickland. I'm glad he actually took advantage of that. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%, man. I agree. I actually wanted to ask you guys, what did you guys think about Sean Strickland's claim on him being headbutted? Did anybody see a headbutt in that fight?
Nope.
Not one bit, bro.
Yeah, like, me neither.
I think I knew he knew he was taking an L and he just tried to do something.
Yeah.
That's what I think it was. I think he could see that, no, this guy is beating me and I need to just, come up with a plan. Because like X said, like Olani said, like Cleese said, that Dricus put him in an uncomfortable situation. He had to fight in a way he never fought before. So he was like, he headbutt me. But no, there was no headbutt. No.
Yeah, of course, Chris was like Sean, One Punch Man Strickland.
One Punch Man Strickland.
He's right.
It's crazy. It's crazy because just based off of what you said, Dricus Du Plessis didn't fight his best fight either, in my opinion. I think there was still a little bit there were gaps and holes in his game, and he could have fought a lot better. And Sean Strickland didn't take advantage of the holes that Dricus Du Plessis had there. So, Tools.
Yeah, Tools.
Late to the party.
Late to the party.
How's it, gents? Man, sorry, I was late.
You're wearing your Kaiser Chiefs jersey, bro. Yes, I see you're a diehard fan.
I had to pull it out, bro.
You're a diehard fan.
Yeah, man.
Yo, you see me, I went with Lions, bro. Just for control, because
we had to do something just to keep it local, eh?
Yeah.
Man. I had to pull some strings. I was traveling and stuff, so my mom came through. She's driving us around. So shout out to mom. Thanks, mom.
Hey, hello, man.
hello.
Yeah. I know. Welcomes. Yeah, we were just discussing the fight, and Darshan just made another point. I think maybe we can, just pull tools into this discussion as well. He spoke on
Yeah.
um, this wasn't Dricus's best fight. Do you agree, tools, on your end?
I definitely agree. I definitely agree with that. But I think we shouldn't take too much away from him. It was his first time being pushed to that limit. I mean, he's never been past the third round in his career before. And Sean Strickland
Yeah.
is a legit guy. It wasn't his best fight. I think he was much cleaner against Whitaker. Um, but this one, I was really impressed with what he did. I don't know if you guys have discussed the the judges' decisions yet, but I think there's something to discuss over there. But I like the
Yeah.
fact that when the fight started, he was in real trouble, and I think he made
Yeah,
some adjustments going into the second, and Strickland put up a really hard fight. But you guys are definitely correct. It's not his best fight. We've seen him do much better than this.
yeah, no,
Yeah, no,
True.
indeed.
100%. The reason I actually brought that up was because we were talking about Strickland's game, actually. And we were talking about the fact that Strickland was only trying to stay upright. He was utilizing his jab really well, but that was genuinely the only punch he was finding success with. Only in the later rounds where he was standing and banging with Dricus, where he was going toe to toe, that's a point where he's actually very strong, where he engages in the fight aggressively. He was
Mm,
finding some success there. Um, but there was a lot of places where Sean Strickland himself could have made adjustments that could have actually won him a few more rounds, or at least the one round that could have won him the fight.
mm,
I'm not taking anything away from Dricus Du Plessis. I wanted him to win. As a South African, I thought that was huge, man. I thought that was really huge, and I applaud him for his performance. He did really well because Sean Strickland isn't a joke. Remember, he beat the guy who had one of the longest title reigns in the middleweight division,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bar Anderson Silva. Bar Anderson Silva.
yeah,
Um, so this is a huge win for Dricus, dude. Huge win for Dricus, and I'm hoping that he has a long title reign. It's gonna be really hard because that division is extremely competitive, man.
100%.
Extremely competitive. I still don't even though he beat Robert Whitaker, I'm not counting Robert Whitaker out of that one if they do run it back, dude.
Yeah, I know, indeed, indeed, indeed. I fully agree with you on the competitiveness of the division. There's so many strong fighters in that division, man, and it will be nice to see as to what happens with the fight. And so, tools. I think we should just, of course, discuss what you just mentioned now about the judges. You can, just
Yeah,
further elaborate on, yeah, on that point, especially with what Musa's saying. Yeah, I think I'll just read out. I'll just read it out. Musa says, I think there will always be disputes about the winner when a fight goes to the scorecard. To be honest, we've seen a lot of robberies in the sport, and that's true. I fully
True.
agree. Yeah,
100%, 100%
Yeah.
agree with Musa there. We see this all the time,
yeah,
and I was going to say, as much as people are going to be split between about that decision about on Sunday morning's fight, we've seen much more, much worse decisions than that. This isn't the
yeah,
most
yeah,
craziest decision we've seen. I think if the judges went either way, I wouldn't be mad at it. I think it's perfect that it became a split decision. It really gives a feel of what the fight was like. The fight was going up and down the whole time, and the boys really left it all in the cage on the night. I'm really impressed. So 100% agree with Musa. For me, I
yeah.
think I think I think when you look at the rounds, where it's going to become tricky. I think the first round is no debate. Strickland takes it. You know,
Mm,
for me, the second Dricus makes some adjustments. I think he wins a takedown. Um, Now it depends about the composition of the judges and what their background is and how much they're going to weigh that takedown over the jabs that Strickland was finding a lot of success with. The third I would give to Dricus, and the fourth. The fifth is again another one where I'm like, ish. I I don't know which way these rounds go. So for me, the second and the fifth are the ones that are controversial. But one is Strickland, three and four are Dricus, and then it depends on what you think about the second and the
Yeah, no, no,
Yeah.
no. I hear you. I hear you. No, no, no. That's what that's what I also saw. I thought the last round as well was pretty, yeah, pretty tight as well. You know, and of course could have went either way. Because even who's this guy, Dana White, he thought that Strickland won. I don't know whether he's basing it from because he's American and he's being patriotic.
Probably.
Yeah,
No, I don't
yeah,
think so.
yeah,
I don't think there's any prejudice in that. I mean, I think most people saw going into the first round at 2-2, and then it depends on how you saw the fifth. I think Daniel Cormier says he saw it going into the fifth round at 3-1 to Dricus, and still Dricus, and then
yeah.
Strickland takes the fifth for him, So it's really I don't know. It's a really tough fight.
No, indeed, indeed,
Yeah.
indeed. It really
It was
was
very
tough.
close.
No, no, no. It really was close. It really was close. I just wanted to quickly share my screen, gents. Just please bear with me. Just wanted to show you this. That there's something that I just saw on Twitter. I'm not too sure if you guys agree with this list, but yeah, pound for pound, UFC men's rankings. Let's go. What up, boy, Wavy? I'm not sure if you can see, bro.
I do. I see it. I've
Yeah,
never seen this list before. Okay.
yeah. It's
Um,
recent. Yeah,
Yeah, I've never also haven't seen this before.
yeah.
I
It's on
think
Twitter.
I think this is accurate except for Izzy. I think Izzy isn't number 10. I think it's top 10, but not number 10.
Mm.
Izzy and yeah, and maybe Sean. Sean should move up like one or two spots
Yeah.
for me personally. But everything else, and I'd put
Sean
John
O'Malley.
Jones over.
You
But
put John Jones over Makachev.
personally, yes, I would. John Jones
Hey,
is a beast. So is Makachev,
I
but
think I agree with that too.
I just think Jones is a much better punt. Not much better, but he has a slight edge over Makachev. And then yeah, only I'd move Izzy up, I'd move O'Malley up, and John Jones to 1. Yeah, that's the only
yeah,
change I'd make.
yeah. And then we'll go with you, Darshan.
Yeah. So
You can see.
I understand why John Jones is currently at second because he hasn't been very active recently. But I agree that his record, if you ask any MMA fan, they'd say John Jones's record speaks for itself. Most people would tell you that he's the greatest of all time, bar none. So, but I understand why some people put him second because he hasn't been active. And unfortunately, he's not going to be active for a while because of that injury to his neck. Um, I think Izzy being at number 10 is a disservice, man. Like, wow, dude,
Yeah,
number 10.
I
They're
agree.
putting Alexandra Pantoja above Israel. That's to me, that's crazy, dude.
It's
That's just, and
criminal.
they're putting Dricus, who just won the title. He doesn't have any title defenses. Israel almost lapped the middleweight division, and he's at number 10, and Dricus is at number 8. I understand these are current pound for pound rankings based on who currently holds the title and who just won and who. But number 10 is ridiculous to me. And if no offense to you guys, I know I can tell you guys are big Sean O'Malley fans, but I'd actually drop Sean O'Malley and I'd probably put Izzy somewhere there.
Yeah.
All right. Do you put Charles
Because
ahead of
Sean
Izzy?
O'Malley, I would put Izzy above Charles. Charles Du
Yeah.
Bronx, though he has a solid record and he's one of the most endearing fighters ever. I think Israel's run in the middleweight division is better than Charles Oliveira's win streak, in my opinion. But you see, that's the problem with the pound for pound rankings, it can be based on subjective reasoning.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure how they put this together, whether it was based on fighter vote or how it was done. But yeah, I know that Islam Makhachev being number one is a bit controversial to some people because he hasn't even fought anyone from the actual lightweight division after he won his title from Charles Oliveira. He's only beat Alex Volkanovski, who was a featherweight. So that's debatable. That's debatable. But I'm a big fan of Islam Makhachev. I was actually rooting for Islam over Charles. No offense to the Charles fans.
Fair.
Yeah, but I think that was a big one, dude. That was a big win for him. And people were talking about his wrestling, but he won by head kick. That knockout was insane. That was a picture perfect knockout. That you can't get more crisp than that, dude.
Yeah, 100%, 100%, 100%. Then of course, let me just stop sharing my screen. Let me share another one. Just please bear with me, gents. Please bear with me. Yeah. Just where is this post, man? I had it saved here, man. Yeah, I'm about to share. Share. Yeah, it's so what I usually do is that I usually watch Izzy's reactions whenever there's like a huge pay-per-view fight, just to hear his perspective, because I mean he knows fighting way more than I do. And of course, yeah, guys, your take. Do you guys think this is gonna be his next fight? I'm not too sure if Izzy is the next contender. I'll go with you,
For me,
Tools.
yeah, man. For me, is the fight to make. I think the moment Dricus didn't
Mm,
take the fight against Izzy the first time, and Izzy beats Strickland, I thought there was a way that we could try and make this fight happen for sure eventually. Um, and for him to take this title from Strickland opens up an opportunity for them to even do a fight with each other in Africa. You know, so that's really interesting. If they don't rush it and try and get it into UFC 300, I think this is the best fight to take for Dricus Du Plessis. Not not for the fight, but I think it's the one that's going to get his name out the biggest. Israel had a really poor performance. I think for me, he was really poor on the night. Not that Strickland was his normal self for me. I think Israel was one dimensional, and he didn't know how to make adjustments, especially after being dropped in the first. So I don't think if Dricus meets Izzy, he's gonna meet the Izzy that fought Strickland. He's gonna meet a proper contender, and that's the toughest fight for Dricus, and it's also the one that's gonna make his name out the most. So for me, I think Dricus is the fight to make, not
yeah, yeah.
Khamzat.
Hamza. Oh, yes, 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 yes,
No,
yes, yes.
I don't. I don't think Khamzat is the fight. For me, it's
Yeah,
Izzy.
yeah. And if it would come to Africa, of course, Dricus is A side, right? Where do you
Hmm.
think it will take place, Dash?
Hey man, that's a difficult question. If it wasn't for the fact that the dome is now, what is it
Eish.
called?
We by
That would have
cause.
place
Why can't just
to
we
have.
Bikers host one event just for us, man? Eish.
Yeah, that's pointed
Yeah,
because that would have been the perfect arena. Would have been exactly what the UFC wanted. I'm sure that would have been the perfect arena. But I remember you even said to me on the day that that Dricus won. Sorry, that Victoria, which I
yeah,
personally don't mind. I'll drive to Victoria to watch them fight. Uh, but yeah, I'm not sure where they'll hold it. But in terms of the fake, I agree with Tools. This will be big for several reasons for Dricus. For one, his legacy, beating Israel Adesanya, um, who has basically destroyed the middleweight division before. That would be great for legacy. Two, it'll be the biggest payday, I think, because Du Plessis out of any fight that he's ever had.
Mm.
And three, the animosity that there was around the whole who's the African thing, between these two. No offense to Izzy, bro. I'm the biggest Israel Adesanya fan, but he's not even from Africa, dude. Sorry, maybe he was born in Nigeria, but he lived in
Yeah.
New Zealand, and he talks like an American, dude. Like there's barely anything going on for him in terms of the African champ. Whereas Dricus was born here, he trained here, he fought
Yeah.
here, he won championships here, and then he went to the UFC, dude. So I don't understand why. Adesanya is making this something like a big thing about who's the African champ, dude. But yeah, I completely disagree with giving Hamza the title shot. I think that guy needs to earn it. He's become a social media warrior where he looks at other people fighting, and whoever wins, he tweets them out, calls them out on Twitter, on Instagram. And I'm getting
Yeah.
tired of his antics, dude, because I'm a big fan of his, but his attitude is a little bit poor, dude. And maybe I'm not the person to call him out for that, because I can't say I'm not a fighter. But yeah, Khamzat is not the fight to make. I think either Israel Adesanya or whoever fights for the number one contendership.
Yeah, no, indeed, man. And yeah, man, I just wanted to ask in closing, is there anything you guys wanted to add? Maybe there's something that I've skipped on my notes, because for that's far, that's what pretty much I wanted us to discuss. But in addition, do you guys have anything that you
Oh
want to
yeah,
maybe want to ask questions? Yeah, what
I just
about?
wanted to add on Tools and Dashan's points is that because Izzy was like basically the gatekeeper of that division. It's a legacy fight for Dricus if he can defend that title against Izzy. And I think I would like that fight also because they both have a lot to say. They both just have big mouths and they talk a lot.
Yeah.
They talk a lot of nonsense. So also that tension, that like beef, because I like watching grudge matches because they prepare extra for that person, and those fights always turn out the greatest. So that even the whole Battle of Africa thing, that's a factor, like Darshan mentioned, and then also just for me, I'd like to see Dricus hopefully defend. Even though I love Izzy, I'm a Izzy fan. I'd like to see Dricus defend it for his legacy, because he can say, "Yo, I beat one of like I'd say Izzy is an all-time great, one of the all-time greats, and also a guy who just dominated this division and was like a gatekeeper of this division, like in order to achieve success or be considered successful as a middleweight, you have to beat Adesanya.
Yeah,
That's is legacy. So for him, I'd like to see that. Yeah, there's just a lot. All of those factors just already on paper make this fight just great, like just a must watch.
100% agree with you, man. And also, Dashan, on the thing you raised about the African champ, for me, that's a really interesting debate, because the term African can be understood in many ways.
mhm,
I feel like Izzy, the way he looks, anywhere in the world, wherever he steps foot, he's regarded as an African. Um, Dricus, wherever he goes, he knows he's an African because he lives in Africa and he's born in Africa. So those two things can still both be true. So it's very interesting, and we could debate it for hours. So for me, that African thing was really interesting. I really wanted to see who was going to win that fight, right? And it really adds so much spice into the fight for me. I really like it.
yeah, no, it really does. It really does. Because already, even on Izzy's channel, I mean, he's got over 1 million subscribers. He's top in the channel. Yeah, and one thing I've noticed even with Izzy, he's respectful. He isn't talking too much smack as far
Yeah.
as how he
Yeah,
how
well, there
he.
was the day he was dropping all those N bombs. I didn't like that. That was terrible. That
Yeah,
was
that
Oh,
was.
shocking. The day he
You
went
see,
into the cage and start dropping in bombs like it was nobody's
Yeah,
business. That
that
was
was
really
weird.
Yeah,
distasteful. I didn't
yeah,
like that. I didn't know what he was trying to do, and Dricus played it really cool.
yeah,
yeah,
you see, unfortunately, sometimes um, Izzy kind of loses his composure. You know, like with any human being, he can lose his composure. Um,
yeah,
but the one thing, like you brought up, man, is that the one thing I respect about Izzy is that when he loses a fight, he doesn't really make excuses. He knows how to take a loss, which is a really important factor in the fight game, man. Like the one thing I don't like seeing is the person that doesn't know how to take a loss. And we
yeah,
can touch on that another time, another podcast.
yeah,
But a lot of examples of fighters that have took the loss poorly and that has come back to fight them, man. So that's why I still think Israel Adesanya still got time left still got time left. He still got a journey ahead of him in the fight game because he knows how to take a loss, man. And I think he can come back stronger from the Strickland loss.
yeah. Most definitely, bro. Fully agree with you. He actually really knows how to take a loss. There's a time where he lost. I think he lost to Pereira, right? And then the day
Yeah,
after, he
Yeah,
did an
yeah,
interview on the Breakfast Club. You know, and it was an interview that was set up to a point where even the host Charlemagne the God was like, "Yo, bro, you could have easily said let's reschedule, but
yeah,
you here after catching an L, bro." And he's like, "Yeah,
mm,
man, it is what it is, bro. It happens.
yeah.
Aim is to bounce back. That's the reason why whenever Easy loses, you don't really like on my end. I haven't like I don't think he's lost any stocks in my opinion. You know, I still
yeah,
think he's
Ah, dude,
in
that's
the
the you
fight.
see that's the part
No,
where it's problematic
Yeah.
because maybe for us personally, like he hasn't lost a lot of stock, but there's basically a club of people that just dislike Israel Adesanya, and
Mm,
it's now the cool thing to do actually. Um,
yeah.
Strickland played a role in that by beating him and calling him out on some of his weirder stuff. Izzy likes to like paint his nails and he dresses up. He dyes his hair all funny colors. Strickland basically called him out on all that shit, and people loved
Yeah.
Strickland for it, dude. Because you know how people hate seeing a guy win as much as Israel
mm,
does. That's
Yeah.
okay. That let me speak from my opinion, dude. People hate it when a guy comes out, says he's gonna do something, and then does it, and then he does it repeatedly. Like we saw this with Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
Floyd
Cristiano
Mayweather
Ronaldo.
was what people
mm,
call arrogant, bruh. People hated him. People called him arrogant. People said he had a mouth on him, but he won, and people hated him for it. And Israel
Yeah.
was kind of the same thing, kind of the same story, you know. So when he
Yeah.
lost
No,
to Strickland, people were so happy. People were excited, and there's like I said, there's a club of people out there that dislike Israel Adesanya, and I see why to a certain extent. You know, sometimes he can be a little bit cocky or a little bit arrogant, but man, I like personally, I love Israel Adesanya. He's one of my favorite fighters of all time,
yeah.
and I still think he's got. I think he can. I think he can come back, and I think he can do some great stuff, man. I think he has already built a great legacy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
No,
think
most
he's
definitely.
a strong contender, man.
hundred
Yeah. No.
percent,
Mm,
hundred
yeah.
percent. I think when we were discussing Strickland's next Duplessis' next fight, it was a bit of a disservice not to bring up Strickland, because if you're Dana
Yeah, the
White and
rematch.
Strickland
Yes,
wants a
yeah,
rematch and Adesanya wants a fight at the same time, I think you have to make a real decision there.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't think Adesanya has lost any stock with it, especially with us fans. When the guy loses, I'm absolutely gutted. Um,
Yeah.
like you said, he ran through the division. The guys that are coming to bother him now have only been in the UFC for only so long.
Mm.
There was a time where the guy really dominated the middleweight division, and you're looking down the whole top 10, and he's either beat everybody there, or the one or two guys that are there that haven't fought him are really not good enough. You know what I mean? And haven't
Yeah,
earned
Mm.
a title shot. So there was a time where you're looking at the division, you don't know who this guy can fight. You know, so we really always have to put respect on Izzy's name. Um, but yeah, looking forward to it. Looking forward to it.
yeah, no, most def. All right, cool, man. Guys, thank you so much for availing yourselves. As mentioned, tools. As Chriso said, you know, coming in clutch late like DDP. Thanks for pulling through because I know you are on the road. But yeah,
Sure, man.
Darshan, thank you once again, man. Appreciate your input. I think we should. Do you guys watch boxing, perhaps? Other
I
than
Nah,
do.
MMA, you do.
I
Oh,
do.
oh, what about you missing out, bro? For me, boxing is the one for me personally. That's my favorite combat sport. But like,
I'll
should
get
they
more.
also? Yeah, no, no stress, no stress. You can feature, no doubt, bro. But yeah, like I'd like for us to also have such segments where we're just discussing boxing because I know Dash and you also do watch boxing, and then we can just
Yeah.
make this thing a common show, you know.
Sure.
But yeah, thank you so much for availing yourselves, guys. Please like, comment, share, subscribe to the channel, help a brother out. This is Easy Sport, and we out.
Peace.
Cheers,
Peace.
man.
Cheers, cheers.